Hey everybody, welcome back to Brainiac Baseball's 1980 Detroit Lions alternate history. This is our Week 3 summary and Monday morning quarterback, I guess we're calling it, where we take a look back at our Week 3 matchup versus the Browns, and then we look ahead to our Week 4 matchup versus the Minnesota Vikings. If you watched yesterday's game, man, it was a good game. It was a lot of fun. I had a really difficult time sizing up the Browns and their pass and run setups, because every time I thought they would run, they passed, and vice versa. It was so frustrating, and yet we were in it and took them to overtime and really had an opportunity to win the ball game when Gary Danielson threw a pick. And then it wasn't long after that when Don Cockcroft kicked his third field goal of the game to win it. He actually kicked a 55-yarder to tie the ball game right at the end of regulation. So frustrating. Many times we had the ball game in hand. If it's any consolation, if we would have won in overtime by a field goal, the over-under, or the point spread, would have still favored Cleveland. They would have won by one, technically. So, a solid game. Billy Sims fumbled twice. We've been feeding him the ball. He scored 3 touchdowns, including a receiving touchdown. We lost Freddie Scott very early in the ball game. And we also lost somebody else too, and I can't remember who it was, but it's not important because all of the Detroit Lions are healthy going into Week 4. You can see here that Brian Sipe just absolutely killed it. He's 22 for 35, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns. Mike Pruitt was practically unstoppable. And although Reggie Rucker is the feature, as the main wide receiver, Ricky Feature was the featured wide receiver in the game, scoring 2 touchdowns. So, a disappointing loss, but overall, a pretty good game. I mean, we led in possession once again. Our penalties were ridiculous, to be honest, but we had good third down conversion. We had 23 first downs. It was just the turnovers, I think, that really killed us. And we can't forget that John Arnold took a kickoff to the hizzy in the fourth quarter that gave us the lead, and I thought we were going to win at that point, but it just wasn't meant to be. So let's take a look at the standings here for the Detroit Lions contest, where we're giving away a Billy Sims autograph jersey. World's Worst Gamer, he did get Cleveland correct. He did not get the over-under correct. We were way over, but he did pick the right winner. And so he's 3-0 just on the basis of picking. Everybody else is 1-2 right now. So what we're going to do here as we take a look at the calendar, the Vikings right now will be locked in at Detroit giving up 3. And the over-under at 39. Okay, let's take a look at the Vikings team, so you can make your picks a little bit more based on what they have to offer. Here's the offense for the Minnesota Vikings. I guess Fran Tarkington must have been retired by now. Let's take a look at Tommy Kramer. He is the quarterback. Yeah, he played all 16 games. And threw for 3,397 yards, 23 touchdowns, 24 interceptions. 44.7% completion percentage this year for 548 yards, 3 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So, he's not a great quarterback. He's only 25 years old. So I guess he's got time to improve. He went undrafted out of Rice University, right there in Houston. That's an awesome stadium they have there. Okay, let's take a look at the running back. It is Ted Brown. Downtown Ted Brown. He is Has 126 yards and a couple touchdowns in 3 games. 8 receptions for 87 yards and a touchdown. So he must be their number 1 back, but he doesn't really get the yardage. They have for their tight end is Bob Tucker. What about Bob? He's got 12 receptions already. That is way more than anyone that we just saw on the Browns. Remember, Ozzie Newsome didn't even have 1 catch coming into that ball game. So, yeah, Bob Tucker's got 12 receptions and a touchdown. Ahmad Rashad, look at that. He was a Pro Bowler. In 1979, he had 80 receptions for 1,156 yards and 9 touchdowns. He's got 12 receptions this year, no TDs. Another undrafted wide receiver out of Oregon. Are they all saying undrafted? Are we missing something here? I think there's something wrong. Maybe they just don't have the draft pick information. That doesn't seem right. Sammy White. Wow, he's got a lot of years played, but he doesn't have any football card. I'm going to double check that. He has 9 receptions. He's got a touchdown this year. He is the number 2 wide receiver. Terry LeCount. He is another wide receiver for them. Let's see. Is there anybody else worth looking at? Then we have their linemen, Ron Yeri, Dennis Swilly, Steve Riley. Okay. So let's take a look here at the backups. The quarterback, Steve Dills. He has made it into a couple games. Backup running back is Ricky Young and Eddie Payton, Walter Payton's little brother. He actually played for the Lions for a couple of years, I guess just 1 year. And you see his football card there. And their fullback is going to miss 1 game. So on offense, they only have 1 player that is going to miss the game against the Lions. Let's take a look at special teams, special players on special teams. Rick Danmeyer is the kicker. 2 for 2 in the field goal territory. And 7 for 7 with the extra points. His longest is only a 46. And the punter is Greg Coleman. Greg Coleman has 18 punts. Now, this guy had a leg on him. If you look at his average so far, not great in the first 3 years, but 47.6 is his average. And I remember during this era, this guy could just boom it every single time. Only 2 touchbacks, but I think he's, punt distance, look at that, 97. That would be correct for that guy. Did Lamar Edwards play already? Lamar Edwards got into a game somehow, and he kicked 2 extra points. Okay. I don't know. I don't think we're going to see him, though. There's Eddie Payton as a kickoff returner, and Ricky Young is the punt returner. Let's take a look at the defense. Wow, they don't have as many guys here. Everyone's healthy. Jeff Simon leads the team in tackles with 22. They only have 1 sack, and that is Dave Rollerball. Any passes defended? Yes, they have Bobby Bryant, Kurt Knopf, probably just Knopf, has 4 interceptions. Tom Hannon has 2. Is there anybody here? Well, Matt Blair, he was is he a Hall of Famer? I can't remember. Matt Blair, big time defensive player. And was Ken Sanders, was he a Lion? Yeah, he was a Lion. That name sounded familiar. As you can see, his 1979 card, I guess. Okay. And Nate Wright. Yeah, Nate Wright was a long-time Minnesota Viking. So lots of interceptions. Okay, so there is your Minnesota Viking team. based on what I've seen here, I can't tell what kind of team they are. They don't seem to rush it very much, and they suck at passing. We're giving them 3 points, and I kind of feel like we are the better team based on players. I mean, I don't know if you want to take a look at the Lions real quick here, and then we'll wrap up this video. There we are so far. Gary Danielson, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He had that costly one in overtime. Billy Sims, number 1 rated running back, even as a rookie. He's made 4 receptions. That was all in yesterday's game. Dexter Bussey getting it done at fullback. David Hill's got 6 catches, but only for 30 yards. We can't get him open, really. Freddie Scott was among the league leaders in receptions. He had 2 in yesterday's game before his injury knocked him out. Leonard Thompson stepped up, though. He did a good job under the circumstances. I don't feel like any of these players need to be swapped out. Rick Kane has been pretty valuable as a third down running back. Mike Freedy stepped up yesterday, too, with a couple of receptions. So, I mean, our offense, I feel like I have a pretty good finger on the pulse of how to utilize them the best that we can. These are not, Gary Danielson is an average at best quarterback. We are really all Billy Sims, and that's what we're going to go with. Our defense, I mean, Al Bubba Baker has a terrible rating, but he's got 3.5 sacks. He did lead the NFC in sacks one year, and I believe he was an All-Pro. Not that that means much, but so I mean, I feel like on offense and defense we're pretty solid, and we definitely get our fair share of interceptions. So Eddie Murray, I feel like he's kind of letting us down. He's missed 3 kicks, and he is over 50%, which you would hope. But he's 9 for 9 in PAT, so we can't rely on him as a rookie. Scoldani's getting it done. He's doing just fine. So, John Arnold taking it to the house. Can we look at John Arnold somehow? Is that on offense? I mentioned during the game yesterday that there he is. That I moved him into the kick return role. He was just a punt returner. I moved him to the kick returner role because he's got the fastest 40-yard dash time on the team. And then what does he do? He scores a touchdown. So, and a big one at the time. Okay, so we're going to lock it in. Detroit giving up 3 and the over-under at 39. We'll see how that plays out. It's going to be interesting the following week as the Bucs are heavily favored, almost by a touchdown, when the Buccaneers are at home. So that'll be an interesting week to bet on. Okay, that's going to do it for this Monday morning quarterback. I hope everyone enjoyed the game. If you haven't watched it, I know it's long. It would have been a lot shorter if we hadn't gone into overtime. So each week I've sort of cut it down a little bit. But the overtime extended it a little bit further than I was hoping it would go. But it was a fun game. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, you should. It was pretty good. All right, that's going to do it. We're going to come back this Sunday coming up. It's actually an 8:20 game. It's a Sunday night football game, but we're going to get it done in the daytime. We'll talk to you later.